Hello, my name is Sarah Holland. Welcome to the Fertile Mindset podcast. Each week on the podcast, we'll explore how your mind can help you create a meaningful and happy life. And through the conversations here, we'll be planting seeds of inspiration to bring you more clarity, purpose, and joy. This podcast is for you if you've ever felt stuck or unsatisfied with life and know that you want to live in a bigger and more beautiful way. I hope you enjoy the time you spend with us. Let's begin. Welcome back for the second episode in this special mini-series of 3 episodes to celebrate the relaunch of the Fertile Mindset podcast with a brand new look, focus, and indeed purpose. As I've made each decision about my work, my business, and the offerings I create, I've been constantly checking in with my own purpose and asking myself, what is the difference I want to make? What change do I want to see? And how can I do this? And if I've come up against obstacles such as feeling tired or having tech problems with my website or when recording this podcast, it's been returning to my purpose and the reason why I'm doing this work that has reset my perspective and helped me connect back with my focus to find the energy I need. And that's what I've noticed in my clients, in that when they have a purpose they connect with, this is a real motivator for them to live their life with passion and energy. When we have a purpose, we can have drive and focus and a twinkle in our eyes. Our purpose is what gives meaning to our life. It's our reason for getting out of bed in the morning. It's what makes us want to take care of ourselves, our health and well-being. It lights us up and inspires us to make a difference. 4 people I know who are truly living their purpose are my guests in the next episodes of the Fertile Mindset podcast starting next week. They are mindset coach Alice Rose, the creator of the Model Strangers Project, Christopher Ward, pop star, DJ, natural living expert and sober living coach and podcaster Janie Lee Grace, and retreat facilitator and lover of nature Rosie Hill. Have a listen now to what they'll be sharing over the coming weeks.
To put it really simply, how we feel when we're happy, we feel like anything's possible. We feel like we can do stuff. We're not talking down to ourselves when we're happy, are we? We're not even really probably talking to ourselves at all in our head. We're just in the present. We're in the present moment. We're in flow. We're feeling motivated. We're feeling excited. We're feeling high on life. That's the kind of feeling of alignment and feeling of creativity that I think is imperative, really, if we want to create the life that we really want to lead.
That's one of the questions you often ask, isn't it? Is what have you learned in life, or what would you tell your younger self? Those kind of reflective questions bring out some really interesting.
And the most common answer is to trust your own instincts. Don't do what makes you happy. Follow your own heart, follow your own path. That's something that really speaks to me as well. That resonates with me as well. And I think it's an important message to hear.
It's often the way for women when they have their first child. That can often be the time when they start thinking about, the kind of the eco picture, the whole climate. Oh my goodness, is there going to be anything left for my child? They start on that journey often, and they start to recognise that, usually that they want to be able to be the best self they can, because they want to birth a healthy baby, and they want to be the best parent they can. So you have to start looking at that stuff, right? If you haven't before.
And it was really interesting in that retreat. When I first arrived, I had big imposter syndrome because this was right at the beginning of my journey in this space, and I was surrounded by a lot of people that had been there and had been working as yoga teachers, as space holders for a really long time. And I remember the woman saying to me, "You are all here for a reason. You're all here at the right time."
Your purpose will be completely unique to you and may be very personal and inspired by your experiences so far in life. You may already have something you feel very passionately about and your purpose or purposes are clear, or you might be unsure and feel that life is already too busy and overwhelming. This is where clarity can be an important first step to freeing up space in our minds and our lives so that we have the time, energy and headspace to connect with and follow our purpose in life. And this can happen quite naturally. You notice what you are drawn to, what lights you up, and where you want to make a difference or create change. But if you are feeling stuck or unclear, or are just curious to dive deeper into purpose, I'd like to share a manageable way to explore and discover your purpose or purposes. Now, if you'd like to create a visual as I talk about this, grab a sheet of paper and a pen and draw a small circle. Then another circle around it, followed by another and another until you have 4 concentric circles on your paper. Then in the centre circle, write the word self. In the next circle, write family. The next, write community. And in the biggest circle, write world. Now you may think that your purpose needs to be something huge and meaningful for the planet, such as tackling climate change, bringing an end to child poverty, or protecting endangered species. And yes, in an ideal world, it would be amazing if as many of the 8 billion people on this planet as possible were focused on the biggest issues. But also, it's not realistic for many of us, especially when you already feel depleted and like you're stretched too thin by your current commitments and responsibilities. So I suggest starting with yourself. What do you want to do with your one precious life? How do you want to spend your time? What are your strengths and talents? What kind of person do you want to be? This could be any number of things, from creating art to writing, or being the healthiest and fittest version of yourself. Taking care of you and finding a purpose that gives back to you is the quickest way to become happy and to fill yourself up. So if you do want to explore other ways to find purpose, you have the energy and inner resources to do that. So you may then want to move on to your family or friends who are your family. Is there a purpose there that you want to fulfill? A person you want to mentor or support? A difference you want to make in their life? Or a joint purpose or project you want to pursue with them? I'm going to share something about myself now, my not-so-secret superfan status for the 90s boy band New Kids on the Block. I have been a fan since 1990 and will still go to as many of their shows as I can. You could say that's one of my purposes for myself, but that's not the reason I'm mentioning them. Donnie Wahlberg, my favourite new kid and older brother of Mark Wahlberg, was on a podcast recently talking to Lance Bass, another boy band member, about his first real paycheck when he started to become famous that meant he was able to look at buying a house for him, Mark, and his mum and stepdad. He said his mum loved the house that they looked at, and it wasn't a fancy house, but it was beyond anything that she'd ever dreamed of. She was so blown away that he knew he had to buy it, even though he wasn't sure what would happen with his music career. So he and Mark made a promise to each other that if he put the money he had down on the house and the New Kids ended tomorrow, they would both work really hard doing whatever they needed to make sure their mum still had this dream house to live in. And of course, New Kids took off massively. He made more than enough money for the house. And that was his purpose in the early days of his career, to make sure his mum had the house of her dreams. Now, once yourself and your family feel taken care of, you then may want to explore your purpose in relation to your community, your town or local area, and the wider world. A purpose on this scale may help you feel part of something meaningful, where whatever you do could have a positive impact on a bigger scale and touch many people's lives. This may be through your work, through activism, through speaking and educating, through volunteering or fundraising, and again, any number of things that are important to you. As we talk about these bigger visions of purpose, I can't reiterate enough the importance of taking care of yourself first. That's why clarity, the mental, emotional and physical clarity, is such an important first step to take care of. You may already have a big purpose and feel really passionate and motivated, but your mind and life are busy and overwhelming, and then it's going to be really hard to maintain your connection to it and to be able to prioritize your purpose when so much else is on your mind and feeling like too much already. So please do take care of your emotional well-being first and foremost. And while you're pursuing your purpose and passion, regularly check in with yourself and check that you're doing okay, that you have enough to give and aren't feeling depleted. Physical and emotional burnout is real and can be very hard to recover from, so watch out for the warning signs and take steps to replenish as a priority. Now, in my fertility support, which I did for over 20 years and I still continue to as a part of Fertile Mindset, it's interesting to see how purpose emerged as a topic during sessions. A fertility journey can be all-consuming as life becomes fully focused on monitoring ovulation, having fertility testing and treatment, and constantly researching and looking for the solution. The women I spoke to who struggled to conceive would often tell me they'd lost touch with who they were and that their identity had been eclipsed by their fertility. There was a sadness and a loss of vitality as they shared this, but this also was a first step to them rediscovering what they truly wanted out of life, alongside their wish to have a baby. And this can happen with any life event that is all-consuming. This could be a demanding career or business, being a parent, having caring responsibilities, health issues, or anything else that takes a lot of your time and energy. It can be really hard to find the time or to feel like you can justify finding the time when there is something so important that requires your constant attention. But this is exactly the time when we need to connect with our purpose, so we don't get lost within those struggles or responsibilities. It's the finding and following of your purpose that could bring you back to yourself and give your life meaning right now. And remember, you can start with yourself. Start close to home. What is it that you need? How do you want to spend the time you have? What do you want to do with this one precious life? Who do you want to be? Bonnie Ware, a palliative care nurse who spent years caring for patients at the end of their lives, wrote the book Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. She recorded the conversations with her patients, and the top regret was, "I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me." She said this was the most common regret of all. When people realise that their life is almost over and look back clearly on it, it's easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honoured even half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. Health brings a freedom very few realise until they no longer have it. So I invite you today to have gratitude for the time you have, the day you have today, and to give yourself the gift now of connecting with your purpose, your dream, for yourself or for others, and take a step towards it. You won't regret it. That's all for today's episode on purpose. Do have a listen to the third and final episode released today, which is on joy, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for listening to the Fertile Mindset podcast. Please rate and review, and remember to follow or subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Now, if this conversation has sparked something within you and you want to live your life with clarity, purpose, and joy, then I would love you to sign up for my Daily Seeds emails. They're delivered to you each day, giving you messages of support and planting seeds of inspiration. You'll also receive welcome gifts from me, including an EFT tuition video and some of my favourite tapping exercises to clear overwhelm, reduce stress, help you focus, and more, all completely free of charge. I'll also keep in touch with you about upcoming events and support that I think you'll like. Go to fertilemindset.com/dailyseeds to sign up, and I'll see you again next week for another episode of the Fertile Mindset podcast.